Click that. There we go. Now you see me. Now you don't. Where's our music at, Dave? Put the music back on. Just a little bit.
That was beautiful music.
Don't kick it up too loud, you know what I mean? But kick it up a little bit.
Tell me a story, Terry.
Speaking of kicking it up and kicking it down, we're going to kick this off. Ha! Today is Friday. It is March 26th, 2021. That's right. 1 year, 3 days after New York has been shut down, we're still at it doing live streams. And guess who we got on Team Friday live stream? No other than Dave from Moonshine. He's in the other room helping us with this 360 stream. We also have a man, a Superman, if you will. There he is.
What's up?
Jason's here again. It's Friday. You know we have to have a conversation. And today, before we get into what we're going to talk about, if you didn't read the title of the video, even though it's pretty general, I just want to let everyone know that this is a 360 stream, all right? 360 degrees. So if you are on a computer or even, I don't know how it works on a Fire Stick TV or whatever, but you need to you can move the image around. You can pan around. You'll see that I have a big camera pointing at my head here. You can see my back here. There's my hands. I'm moving them.
And I'm over here.
We got Jason over there, and he is also in the same space with me in New York. You know. So to kick it off, Jason is in full attire. He's in his full race kit right now because he was on a ride. So
yeah.
Jason, why don't you kick us off?
So yeah, we were talking about, you know, the idea of like either training or fitness and what it takes and why we do it, and sort of like, you know, how to be fit, how to get fit, or how to sustain some level of fitness for whatever reason, you know. I think, you know, sometimes, you know, people are watching Terry's videos and they're like, oh my God, how does he like hang with these people? Or how does he like cruise around for 5 hours?
The secret is the draft.
Yeah, that's right. He's just or the e-bike.
Lately, I've been using the e-bike.
Terry wears regular clothes, 50 pounds of gear, and he's on an e-bike. There you go, end of story. No. I mean, but yeah, you know, I was thinking about, so I'm on this, I'm training for, you know.
What are you training for?
You're
always training. Please,
right now,
I want to know. I'm learning.
With COVID, you know, so racing is sort of resuming, and so I'm hoping, I've got a couple of goals I want to like try to accomplish before I, you know, stop training so hard. And so I'm training for national championships. And then if that goes well, I may consider going to track worlds at the end of the year. So I'm training for some really specific stuff, and then also in that I will do like park races and crits and whatnot. So, you know, I train and I do these training blocks, and it, you know, is really intense and sometimes not fun. I guess a lot of times not fun, but you know, Terry rides and he probably enjoys himself, but also at times it's probably no fun also. And so
my no fun rides are around Prospect Park.
That's no fun for you?
No, I hate it. I hate it on. I hate riding laps around Prospect Park or even Central Park on a road bike. The thing that I do to make it more fun, where it's just like a little more stimulating, is that's what I have my track bike built up for, to do laps around the park. And I'll be, you know, I'll ride in kit, not a full skin suit like Jason's wearing right now, but I'll wear a kit and I'll go, but I will only spend like an hour and a half tops. I will never, like, I think I've broken into double digits on the road there once, but I have a hard time sticking out to over an hour there. It's so that's a pretty good you know, high effort hour of just intense riding, and then I just go home and I ride really slow to the park and I ride really slow on the way home.
But that's good. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. I don't.
I mean, but
I don't fixie home. I don't do any. I fucking only ride that bike is. Jason's gonna laugh, but that bike is a big gear, and I feel it feels not safe. I don't care who you are. It doesn't feel safe to ride a gear ratio like that clipped in with road shoes and carbon soles. Like there's no e-brake. There's no reason to ride it crazy in the streets. It's only for the park. And the park is the thing that makes the park more entertaining on a track bike is the fact that there are random loose cannons and other cyclists and just people there. So it does make it a little bit dangerous at times. But for the most part, it's a lot safer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you also can't. That's a really good point. Is you got a big fat gear, you can't really get crazy on the streets because you can't stop the gear. Even if you can turn it over, it's pretty hard to slow it down.
Once you get it going, it's hard to slow it back down.
That's also why, like, if I'm rolling a big gear, I almost prefer to like Ted Shred, which is like wearing sneakers and just jamming your foot in the rear wheel, because that's like the only legit way to like efficiently slow down on a big ass gear.
So that's the only type of training that I really do. All my other rides are like Jason said, I just get on my bike and I ride. But some of the I guess commitments and things to keep me in shape, like I know when I'm out of shape, it's more about when I hit like a climb or something, I'm like, wow, it's really hurting, or I feel uncomfortable on my bike and a little slow and not aware of my surroundings. That's when I know I haven't been riding my bike. And the things that I have to do to ride things that I want, for example, yesterday I met up with Cooper and we rode a lot of gravel in the Hudson Valley. That was an hour and some train ride just to go ride, 50 miles and get about 5,000 feet of climbing. Like, you have to do that in New York City because there's no climbing in New York City. If you want to climb and you want to ride, like actually do some good riding, you have to leave the city. And it's not really, I'm not saying that it's not awesome to ride around New York. I love it. It's just for the climbing and the like gravel kind of riding and mountain biking, these are the sacrifices and some of the things you just have to exchange instead of, if you live in California, it's a little bit like right out your back door. It's a little easier to do stuff. You just have to be a little more committed here. And then Jason, for example, what do you do that helps you, or what kind of commitments do you make?
So I think what Terry's talking about, all of the things that he's saying gives him a level of fitness that allows him the opportunity to go out and like ride all day and or ride with like all the equipment he has on him, or he gets out and gets his riding involves track bikes and road bikes at times and gravel bikes and mountain bikes, and that's what he's into, and he has a level of fitness, and maybe he can climb, and he kind of like inadvertently works on that stuff, whereas since I pretty much train for like track racing, my regimen and my training is a lot different. I also have other factors that like, like I'm a dad, and I got so my timing, and I got kids in remote learning, and so oftentimes, that's also, you got to toss all that into the mix, and so I dedicate about 10 to 12 hours a week of training, which is still a lot, but I knock it out at a time that fits into the schedule, which in the winter time involves mostly indoors, which can be arduous and kind of like, not that fun, but at the same time, it's super efficient. I can hop on the bike, I can get my efforts in, and then I can, hop off the bike. And, and then on the weekends, I try to train outdoors, but that mostly involves Prospect Park. And for me, it works because, again, it's close and I can knock out a ride, and in a way, I'm grateful for the laps I get outdoors, I'll sort of take what I can get, so, but the training is in a way at times harder than the racing. The idea is that you're breaking down your body and you're doing these blocks of training that hopefully by the time the season comes around, if everything goes as planned, you hop into these races and you're able to sort of like, you've built all this fitness, and then you can hit the goals and, you know, maybe try to win a race, or, you know, have a good season and, you know, just kind of have some fun, and then hopefully target an event and go for that. So, you know, it's cool to have either like some goal, you know, or at least keep up a level of fitness, you know, so you can continue to kind of do the things that you love on your bike. And I think also part of what makes this conversation cool for anybody is that we're here because we sort of all love bikes, right? You know, and you want to be able to sort of like get out there and have fun, and also be able to complete whatever it is that you're doing, you know. And so, you know, like people will ask me, well, you know, how do you get to that point, you know, and or Terry, like, how does he have that level of fitness, you know? And I think it all really comes from like just doing the work. And, you know, I think anybody out there could be a decent like racer, you know, of any category, you know, but and I always tell people, you just got to train, you know, and the training can like suck sometimes.
Or what I'll tell you is, you just got to ride your bike.
You just got to ride your bike. Yeah, you really just got to ride your bike.
You got to ride your bike.
You got to ride your bike. You'll build a certain level of fitness, you know, but then, you know, if you really want to like break down your body, you got to do efforts. You got to do like 1 minute efforts or 2 minute efforts, and have like structured training, you know, and then you could try out racing, or you'll just whatever, like lose weight, or, you know, travel somewhere further, or, you know, like get out and do more challenging terrain, you know. So, you know, I think it's cool to kind of talk about like what your interests are, and then how to sort of like set a program, or just, you know, make some goals and kind of go for it, you know.
For me, you touched on it a little bit. I always try to push like riding multiple types of bikes, and I know that's sounds like a little over the top for some people. I know a lot of people, you know, only have one bike, or, you know, they don't have the money to, like, you have more than one bike, that's like, you know, that's a little excessive. But if you're, I feel like, I mean, I've been riding for a long time, so I didn't just buy, you know, multiple different types of bikes at one time. They've all come over a few years, and you get into, you know, you ride a single speed around the city to commute, and then you're like, oh, I want to ride a gravel bike or whatever, and then you ride gravel, and then you go upstate to ride that, and then you want to ride mountain bikes. So all of these types of riding, I feel like they all help. I always say how they help each other in a way, and that might not be a, you know, someone like Jason's outlook on it. Like, you probably don't want to spend, you know, 20 hours a week riding a mountain bike if you're racing track bikes and you're serious about it. But for me, I feel like it makes you a better cyclist all around. I know for a fact riding mountain bikes, especially getting into the more rowdy, downhill type of rowdy stuff, there's a correlation between that and riding in the city. There's very similar things. You're staying calm, confident. You're staying, you know, you're being aware of everything that's coming. Like, you're premeditating things. You see turns and rocks and features. You're never looking at what you're riding through at the time. Just like when you ride through the city, you're not looking through the intersection or the little gaps that you're in. You're looking past it. You're always looking ahead of yourself. And there's just these similarities, and I feel like the more you touch on different types of cycling, different types of riding, it all helps each other, and you learn from each, and you can put it together into one. And when you jump on different bikes, I just feel like it really improves the quality of riding you're doing, and also it makes you just more more confident and a better rider.
It breaks it up too. It's really fun. I mean, like we were talking about before, Terry's always trying to get me off like my road bike or my track bike. And, you know, we joke about like going upstate and doing rides. And
we joke. I'm being serious. And he never comes.
Well, we have fun and we joke about it. But, you know, a couple of years ago, I think it was a couple of years ago, we did Never Sink, and that for me was like one of the most fun, like, events I've had. And that was actually right between, I went to nationals, and it was between that and world championships. And here I am doing I don't want to say it's not fun, but like training at a really high level is like it's like work, it's a dedication, and it's a lot of effort to maintain a level of fitness, when you've got like these goals. And to do an event like Never Sink was a blast. You get on your bike and you're doing all kinds of different terrain, and like Terry says, you ride different bikes, or you do different types of riding or riding styles, and it helps you build skills on other types of bikes. So then you're riding in the city a day later, and you realize that what you were doing out in the woods is also helping you become a better cyclist in traffic. And I could definitely say that having those types of different styles and techniques will help you out. I grew up in BMX, and that like definitely makes me a better track racer, because I'm comfortable banging around and rubbing hips and elbows and everything, and at speed, and whereas if I didn't have that type of discipline as a kid, it would be harder for me to feel comfortable in a pack, so it's definitely cool to mix it up. It also keeps it fresh, you're not just like doing the same thing, and it's not redundant. You get to change it up and, do new things like whenever you feel like it.
That's exactly right. I think you can get kind of bored as well if you keep doing, that's my personality anyways. I'll stick to something for a while, but if I get bored, I'll start messing around with something else. And having multiple disciplines of bikes, it really helps keep it entertaining and interesting. And it also opens up the options for where you're gonna ride and things you're gonna see. You know what I mean? Like I'm the type of person that doesn't even like to ride the same way home. If I'm just like going somewhere and coming back, I'll go a different way because I just ridden that street. I want to see something else. I'm always I guess part of it is just visually. I just want to see something else. So that's always a benefit too. Changing the scenery, especially when you live in a city.
Totally.
You're riding around, say I was heavier into like just riding the road bike and the track bike. Like most people, probably ride a track bike around the city. Maybe they do laps, and then they ride the road bikes. They go across the George Washington, and they go up 9W, and they do a quick thing, and then they come back. And it's like, how many times a month can you do that before you get tired of it? It's the same kind of routine. So it's cool to break it up. And I know I've lived and ridden in two, major cities on the East and West Coast, and it's similar in both, that you change it up and it really helps. You can see different things and really, maintain some sanity,
Yeah.
Especially if you're in it for the training.
Yeah, I mean, that's that part, the fact that you live in a big city and you can go and do, different routes and different rides, that keeps it fresh. One thing that's kind of unfortunate, Tara was talking about this a little bit, the only way to really get good climbing is to go out of the city, and it's awesome to go out of the city, but for me it's hard because, like if I want to do 2-hour ride, I have 2 hours, from like door to door. And, I have to focus on really getting in quality like rides. And in order to get out of the city, it takes like a solid hour just to get to the George Washington Bridge, which then gets you into New Jersey where there's good riding, like unobstructed riding, where you can ride for a while without hitting a light, So, it's hard for me to do those rides. I just have to like block off a day, and kind of like be sure that, I can like have a day to like ride, and that's awesome. I love doing that, but it's harder for me to get that kind of time, so it's cool to do that, and then also similarly, it's rad when you have like a level of fitness or you like that kind of adventure and you travel. And when you travel, you can then go experience other types of terrain or other cities, you know, and you have like a base knowledge of like how to ride in a city, you know, but then you go to a different city and you sort of like, you know how to ride in a city, but then it's a little bit more challenging and it's different, and you get to like take the experience that you have and like use it in a new city, but then also like feel reinvigorated that like you're exploring this new, like, you know, this new place. And, you know, it's like carving a new trail or finding a new, you know, way to go is like always super fun. And that's what like keeps the stoke going and keeps you like hunting, like, you know, new experiences on your bike.
And there's still so much in the surrounding New York area that I still haven't even touched yet. It's crazy. And I've been here over 5 years now, so it's crazy to even think about it. Like, you know, I have my go-to spots, you know, for like the mountain bike. I know that you guys probably know that I love going to Graham Hills on the mountain bike. In fact, I was just there on Tuesday. I rode with Andre for the first time in a while on the mountain bike since Sedona, really. And normally we go down this, we take a left in the back of Graham Hills because there's these like really fun waterfall drops that's super fast and rutted out and kind of sketchy. And we can rail them now, like no brakes, pretty well, because we've been hitting it a lot. But if you go to the right, there's this rock chute that I knew about, and I guess the more you get confident speaking more about mountain bikes, I guess your eyes and the things you think are possible start to change. And I realized that there's a really sick rock drop on this other side that I noticed the chute before, but I didn't even think about doing this line before. And it's like a rock drop to a big drop off of another rock into a really steep, like, downhill chute. And you just, you know, even at your local spots where you think you know it like the back of your hand, still, like Graham Hills, I still find things that I've never ridden before that you know, that could are potential to change it up and have fun. So,
and that could be because like he's like more comfortable riding a trail, or maybe that now he's riding a different bike that he's more comfortable kind of doing something that he couldn't do before, you know. And that's a perfect example of how, you know, like your riding style maybe develops, or that, you know, you've been putting in the miles and riding these spots that now you can explore other spots and hit something that you couldn't hit before, you know. Or, you know, that like that could be true too for, like, you know, riding in the city. Like sometimes you wouldn't want to ride on a certain street because it's like busier or faster, you know, but you gain a level of fitness and then like you're like, you know what, I'm gonna go rip in traffic. Which sounds crazy, and it is, but like, you know, you could go and instead of riding in the bike lane, you can go and ride kind of in the street because you can keep a faster pace, you know. Or, you know, a bike race. Like sometimes I hit goals to try to race UCI races, you know, and that helps me up my fitness and give me a buffer of knowing where my level of fitness is, you know. So there's always like little carrots dangling or opportunities to do something that you sort of haven't done before, and you know, that keeps it like refreshing and, you know, and sort of fun, you know.
Yeah.
And I guess that, you know, also we haven't spoken about this too, is like, you know, like we love this object, you know, and I guess also part of it is like, you know, you get to like, if you like hit a goal or like you know, want to try something different on a particular kind of bike, you could like upgrade your parts, you know, or change gearing. You know, Terry was talking about riding a big gear. You know, like this is the bike he rides in Central Park or Prospect Park, and when he does it, he wants to like mash some laps, and so he'll ride slow to Prospect Park because that gear isn't really great for street riding. But once he gets in Prospect Park, he can like rip, you know. So he's got like a whole, you know, array of different like cogs and chain rings that are specific to that type of riding, you know. So depending on the kind of like discipline or, you know, terrain you're riding, you can like change up your parts and, you know, make them efficient for what it is that you're doing.
It's true. That's true.
And that's so.
Says the track racer.
I was gonna say. So Terry laughs at me because all I wear is skin suits.
Jason doesn't own a kit.
All
he
I do
only
is
has
race
skin.
bikes, kind of. But so when we were filming, this is a funny story. When we were filming when we bombed Bear Mountain, we were like talking about like, making it a little like just different, right? So he's like, wear regular clothes, and so I'm like, all right, and making it more cinematic. So we got like flappy jackets and whatnot. But it was like, for one, it was really cold, and two, if we're still gonna go riding, you even if you're wearing pants, you would like wear your kit, and I had like full transparency. None of my kits were like clean, and so the only kit I had clean that day was like my Stars and Stripes, like when like the full Stars and Stripes kit that I have from Team Pursuit, and so I had it on underneath my kit, and everything's all tucked in, or I thought, and I didn't see until like I saw the video for the first time that you could see like my Stars and Stripes kit like from the back when everything was flapping, and Terry's like laughing at me because I'm wearing like my Stars and Stripes skin suit under my regular clothes.
Not just a kit, a skin suit.
under
his jeans.
Suit, but my damn superhero costume is my Stars and Stripes. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, but again, like where, you got like particular kinds of gear for, a discipline. And, in theory, if you're out riding and hanging out, you can rock. Like Terry's got the new Velo Sambas, and they're super tight. As soon as he rolled in, I saw that he has his track bike with those pedals. And so I was like, oh damn, he's got his new Velo Sambas, which are super tight. And he's like, he got to like wear like chill gear and rock his Velo Sambas, and that's like super urban and totally rad, but if he was going to go in the park and spin a bunch of laps, he probably would wear different shoes, so I guess that goes into, wearing the right stuff or having the right gear and equipment for the right kind of riding, and that, you want to be able to sort of have the right gear based, on the kind of riding that you want to do.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a good use for these shoes. They're great for the track bike on that gear riding around the city, because now I have the ability to push a big gear around the city, and I now have the emergency brake, the TED Shred. So I have the best of both worlds. I can be clipped in, and I can still like skid and stop, but the bike doesn't. I don't like to skid on that bike at all. Like I like to use my legs to slow it down. It's a big gear to be doing whip skids, like I said earlier. I'm gonna blow out my knees doing that. But I can TED Shred because it's got regular soles on here. So that's why these shoes, I'll show you guys with the camera here. Not sponsored, full price I paid for these, but I'm hyped on them. Apparently the resale, yeah, that's what I was just saying. So you can they're just regular soles with a clip on the bottom. They're awesome. So.
And how did they? How were they for TED Shredding? Yeah. Did they wear down?
No, it's just like a regular sole.
Dude, that's tight. I TED Shred in a pair of Vans and they're gone in like 2 rides.
Yeah.
So, Adidas, if you're watching, sponsor me.
Yeah, Adidas. Where you at?
Where you at, Adidas?
Where you at?
Where you at? Someone was asking me. Juan Rodriguez from the Bronx. Juan Rodriguez. Was asking if I was checking my rim tire and if I had a dent, which is also interesting. That's a good question. I was plucking tubular glue off my tire because I just glued a new tubular.
You can't dent those.
You can't. You could, but there'd be no going back. So I was plucking tubular glue bubbles off of my tubulars because I just these are my fancy rims and I had to glue a new tire on my rim. So I was plucking off the tubular glue because I'm crazy like that.
So we're gonna get to some questions here. We're gonna just respond. I'm gonna start responding to some people here. So I'm gonna start.
Yeah, they want us to do
the most current, and I'm gonna avoid obviously not talk about any of the technical questions you guys are asking about the stream. David has been good. David Robinson has been responding to you guys on that, so we'll just skip that stuff. I see that the skin suit, there were some questions. Juan has answered it. A skin suit is, yes, it's a one-piece thing. Jason's wearing it. That is one piece.
This is like an old one. It's got a hole in it right here. It was a shitty morning, and so I'm wearing like my old gear. This is like a skin suit from last year. It's one piece. The idea is that, you know, if you're like getting aero, you know, it's designed to just, you know, not have flappy material and to be more efficient. And it doesn't have pockets in the back. It's just kind of like, you know, one bit.
That's a hard one to use if you're trying to be on your bike over an hour.
Bottles.
There's
no
nowhere.
Gels. Just
you
go.
got nothing.
Gas and go. Gas and go.
You got no. You have a pit crew at the track with you. That's what you got with that.
That's right.
You got the snacks. You got the water. Sam Forms, what's up? I saw that you said you were bored at doing the 9W and George Washington Loop. I suggest you check out the Hudson Valley. There are really good rides over there. You can get away with a lot of stuff in Cold Spring on a road. You don't need a gravel bike. Again, I've said this multiple times. That is a marketing term. You can get away with doing a lot on a road bike as long as it's a more modern road bike that can take, I mean, you can do it on 25s. I wouldn't recommend under 25s, but just keep that air pressure really high and you'll be all right. You won't get any flats. Bring tubes and pumps and be ready. There aren't anywhere, there's no bike shops, there's nowhere to stop. When you're riding that kind of riding, you're out in, not in the middle of nowhere, but you're, you know, it's more country, less suburban, and there's not a lot of shops, there's not a lot of towns. You're just in between a lot of towns, and that's where the good riding is. It's a lot of rolling, and we call them, for lack of a better word, thick punches. They're super steep, like 200, 300 foot climbs, but they're short, but so it just really gets your it really tests to see if you got that climbing, the quick sprint, like climbing fitness levels, and you can get away with that. Again, like I said, I wouldn't recommend going there without gears, although I've heard of some people riding out there with single speeds. Those guys are mental, but track bikes and those kinds of I wouldn't recommend a track bike out there, but I'm not saying you can't get away with it. It's just, if you were to ride with me, you wouldn't keep up. There you go. I'm going to tell you that. You're not going to keep up on the descents. Easy.
No, that's true.
You might be able to keep up on the climbs, but you're not going to keep up on the descents. There's no, I will bet anyone money who's watching right now, what's up? That you will not keep up on the descents.
Terry's calling everybody out, man.
On a fucking track lacrosse bike. There's no way. It's too technical. And if you did have a big gear on it, you're not going to climb with that big gear, and that's the thing, is why I think you need the gears. So
I think people do track bikes on 9W because it's kind of like
9W with a track bike is awesome. It's easy. It's chill as fuck. I've done Bear Mountain with the track bike with a 4914.
That's a big gear to climb. But yeah, you can like grind up, and kind of like
just out of the saddle, nice and slow and steady.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's cool. It's like an accomplishment. You're like out there like riding, the rolling terrain.
Honestly, last time I rode that, I was with someone on a road bike, and I was pulling them for the first part. You have momentum, on the track bike, and on the flats on 9W, you're kind of cooking, especially if you have a little bit of a tiny tailwind or no headwind at all. It's pretty smooth sailing, and I had to wait up for the guy on the road bike. I'm just saying. That's
a really good point too. Like track bikes are also like old school like roadies. Like they'll ride track bikes in the off season.
Yeah.
And because track bikes, a great benefit of riding a track bike is it helps you perfect your pedal stroke.
Yes.
Because in order to ride a track bike efficiently, you've got to speed it up and slow it down. And in order to like keep a steady pace, you've got to ride the same, rhythm. And so track bikes are really, really efficient. And you can go out for super long rides, and dial in your track bike, dial in your fit. and then put on a gear that, you know, is a good mid-range gear between being able to climb and descend and whatnot, and you go out there on your track bike and kind of tear it up. So, you know, it's awesome to be able to sort of, you know, have a bike for that bit of utility, and then see in the long run that your body and your form is, you know, more advanced because of the time you put on your track bike.
That is true. I'm sorry about the exposure on Jason's camera. It's a partly cloudy day today, so you can see that the sun comes in and goes out, comes in and goes out. So I'm just, you know, sorry about that. We don't have a cameraman over there. Let's see. There was another one. Oh, I like this. Let's arrange a roll call. So yeah, where is everyone watching from? Let us know. Let us know in the chat. Where are you guys watching from? I know we got some from the West Coast. We got some from the Midwest. We got some from Toronto. We have some from the Arizona area. I'm just guessing off the people I know. Maybe some people in Russia. Let me know. Where are you guys from?
I see Laura's in the chat.
Laura's in the chat?
Laura's in the chat.
Laura.
Oh, Nabby, the national champs.
She signed in real quick.
Laura's in the chat. Maybe not. What up, Laura? From Mexico, I see Mexico.
Okay. Joe Swain, what's your all's preference between Paul and Thompson components building a bike right now? Ooh, that's a spicy question to ask, I think.
That's a good one.
I like Paul. I've never owned any Paul stems or anything. I think that they have made a lot of cool problem-solving milled aluminum bits over the years that have been cool, and they also have really good. Their cable pull disc brakes are really good. Their mini motos are really good. They make cool stuff, and I don't know if it would be fair to call them exact competition to Thompson because they're different. Thompson does different things. Paul, I feel like, has been in the dirt scene for way longer, doing things and making things work for bikes that ride on the dirt, where Thompson has, you know, been more general. Thompson is getting more specific now, though.
They are, yeah. And I mean, that's a good point in a way. You know, like Paul's a bit of a smaller company. They're kind of like, you know, a little more home brewed. And so they have the ability to focus on stuff that's like a little bit more specific. Whereas Thompson's
Chico, California, y'all.
Yeah. And, you know, like Thompson's like an aerospace factory and they're producing like, you know, 10 times the volume of Paul, you know. So in a way, they're kind of like, they've got these, you know, a little bit more of a specific collection that they, you know, produce in-house. And some of their stuff is now, since they've, you know, they moved into different materials, they outsource some, but, you know, they're different companies that kind of do different things, and they're both super rad. The what is it called? The clamper, the disc, it's really rad. Yeah. Man, we got people from everywhere. You been checking that out?
South America, Brazil, Montana, Boston, Lim.
Sarasota.
Brazil, we have more. We have Philippines, Richmond, VA, Lima, Peru, NYC gang. What? There's people from NYC in here? No. What's up, Sam? Sweden, Prague. Victoria, Ireland, Toronto. He's not really. Dimitri's not really from Toronto. He's from the suburbs.
Long Island, Strong
I've seen his streams,
Island.
dude.
Pork slop.
Warsaw. Whoa.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah, dude. Bro, the VR setup is sick. Yo, thank you, man. Thanks for tuning in. Murky Smitty. Rio de Sol, Brazil.
Guadalajara.
Pork slop.
Dude.
Tampa, Florida. Estonia, Thailand. Helsinki.
Peter.
Crown Heights, Chicago. Kansas City, Missouri.
How you doing, man?
Michigan City, Indiana, Los Angeles, Lyon, France, Portland, Maine, Moscow, Catskills, Bed-Stuy, Mexico.
You got a couple inches on me.
What else?
Go, dude. Check it out.
Let's see.
Thanks, man.
Germany, Edinburgh, Scotland, Massachusetts. I'm just gonna let these. You guys can just listen to these guys.
Bottom bracket is here, yeah.
And we have a guy that wants to say bad words.
That's cool.
And like the back.
Let's see.
That's so crazy.
Anaheim.
because I'm just talking to somebody
Los
else and doing the
Angeles,
same thing.
Georgia.
Who do you have a painter in mind?
So I'm friends with Tom Porter,
Yeah.
motorcycles,
Okay.
and he just started painting his own bikes.
We're selling bikes. We're politicking here.
All right, I got his mic off. It's just me, y'all. Jason's selling stuff right now. Carlos says, remember me when you hit 500K. One of these days, we'll get there. We'll see. How many teeth is that Affinity chainring over there? The thing is huge. Sick bikes. The camera setup is badass. Thank you, sir. What else? Oh, Joe Swain, you just got some Paul flat mount disc brakes. Dope. Those are dope. Those are cool. Those are cool for a bike that you plan on traveling with. There's no hydraulic fluid, so it's all cable pull. Pretty dope. Biggest chainring Affinity makes 62.
No, we make a 65.
65. Your mic is not on because you left the stream. I'll turn it on for you. You can't sell a bike and a chainring on the stream. I just didn't want. Yeah, I didn't want.
Sorry about that.
No, I didn't want to put you on the stream.
So yeah,
There we
we
go.
have. Am I on?
You're back.
Sorry about that, everybody. We're my buddy Peter's here to pick up a new anthem, and we were.
I didn't want to put.
Shooting the shit.
I didn't want
to
to put Peter's name on the voice on there, dude.
Oh,
Good discretion.
sorry.
Yeah.
Someone was picking up a bike. Yeah, we make chain rings up to 65 tooth. This is a 63, and yeah, I'm like collecting my chain rings because I'm getting ready to do some training. So
He's gonna do some training with the skin suit.
with my skin suit.
Let me see. Santa Catarina, Brazil. São Paulo, Brazil. Charlotte, North Carolina. Y'all got some good trails over there. I'm trying to ride my mountain bike over there soon.
That's like, is that close to Asheville? That's like a huge cycling area.
St. Pete, Russia. Have we met before? I love me some St. Pete. That's a beautiful city. Any recommendations where to stay in NYC for visiting? Yeah, a COVID hotel. Let me see. Might do another century tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know, man, if where you're visiting from.
Maybe
But,
an Airbnb. You
Yeah,
know?
maybe an Airbnb. I don't know. I have no idea, honestly.
I feel like
Maybe Jason's couch.
maybe Jason's couch. Maybe Terry's. Maybe in the shop.
Yeah, we have a couch here. I think it turns into a bed.
I feel like the Airbnb thing is cool for the city because it gives you an experience where if you don't know the city otherwise, you're like suddenly like somewhere in Brooklyn, you know, or you're like staying in the village or something, you know, and it gives you like a real perspective of how it would be to like live in the city. So I feel like Airbnb is like more fun and a little different than, you know, than staying in a hotel.
Might do another century tomorrow. What snacks should I bring? Buy some tortillas, big ones, and then just put whatever leftovers you have in the fridge in the tortilla and wrap it with foil, because no tortilla should not be wrapped in foil. And just put it in your jersey pocket, and by the time you're ready to eat, it's kind of warm. You know what I mean? And then you're good to go. You know, that's what I do. Honestly, though, I like to eat. Part of the reason why I like to ride places I haven't ridden before or go places that are way outside the city is for the food. I like to try new spots.
Totally.
Always. Not like restaurants, but like little. Yesterday at this place that just opened up since COVID. It was our first day open. And it was a little butcher grocery store, but one of those fancy ones. And they had this like Thai chicken peanut. It was like a quart of it, and then a quart of this like cabbage slaw stuff. And then Cooper bought a baguette, and I put it all in the baguette. Oh, it was so good. I was like, you need to make this a sandwich, man.
That's
And
like
just have it ready
French
to go.
fries on a burger.
So
Status.
good.
That's good.
It was like the acidic cabbage, like spicy kind of salad thing with the like creamy peanut Thai sauce together was like, oh. And also, you know, there was a lot of climbing yesterday, so anything I put in my mouth probably would have tasted good. Peanut butter jelly, doesn't matter.
Yeah. That's also the best part about riding bikes is you can eat anything you want. Right?
I think you should, yeah. What is the bike above the camera? What camera are we talking about? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I can't tell.
The funky colored one. That's
Let's
the
see.
digitizer. And then there's Terry's Low Pro. And then my son's Cannondale. And yeah, I don't know.
Don't forget Gatorade and Red Bull to wash it all down. You know what's up with that Go Juice, man.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't had a Go Juice in a hot minute. Henrique wants to know, or he's saying, hey, Terry, you seem like a very calm guy. Would you agree? I don't know. You should see me when the camera's off. I gotta have You gotta have nerves of steel to do what you do. I just ride the bike, man. The bike keeps me calm, I think. If I'm not riding, I get really fucking cranky.
I will say too, and I've said this about Terry. It's, you know, like the riding is one thing, but like, you know, he's like super chill in the moment with like all his equipment, and all this stuff doesn't go right all the time, and you know, sometimes dude's like live, you know, and so it's also about like troubleshooting and, you know, like
There's
figuring
so much
things out in the
troubleshooting.
moment, and you also are live, you know, so you gotta like, if you follow Terry, you've seen those moments and you see how he works through them, and it kind of shows you the kind of character, you know, like who he is as a person. And he is super chill, and you know, he gets through those moments and you get to see them all live, you know, and so he's pretty chill.
GTI mod blog, 7 Big Macs? No, it was 8 Big Macs, sir. I did 8 Big Macs in under an hour on Twitch. If you guys saw that, it was on the Twitch stream. I would have done 10. No, I would have did 9, but I saved one for Amir, and he never came and ate it. That guy.
Was that dude?
It was in the fridge for a hot minute.
Sorry, Amir. I just tossed out your Big Mac from 2 weeks ago.
Fuck, Amir. Sorry, dude. You don't even get to eat the Big Mac now. Omar Perez, you guys riding today? I might jump on a bike and stream, but I had a pretty heavy day yesterday, so I would probably just. I was thinking about just pedaling the track bike around slowly, just kind of, you know, pushing the blood around, as they say. What do they say after a ride?
Shaking the legs.
Shaking the legs, you know, flushing the legs or whatever. You do an easy spin after like a hard day on the legs.
Yeah.
Saturday I'm going on a mountain bike ride, so I would like my legs to feel good for that, because that's one thing I didn't say is like you can feel, or I can feel the different ways my body is sore from the different types of bike riding.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Different areas on the legs hurt from different bikes that I ride. And I don't know if that makes sense or it makes it sound like my fit is wrong on all my bikes, but like on a mountain bike, it's a lot of like punchy climbs and like really bursts of like power, and then way higher cadence than I normally spin. So the top right above my kneecap, whatever quad or whatever muscles those are, I don't know. It's always sore there the first few times I'm riding, especially if there's some climbing. And then my whole upper body feels like I got hit by a car every time. It's just super sore everywhere, because like you're moving the bike around and picking up, bunny hopping, pushing down, like pumping, like you're pushing down on the wheel and pulling up on the wheel, turning, like pushing, like keeping your balance. So my core all the way up to the ends of my fingers are sore, you know what I mean? And then when I ride the gravel bike, you know, it's like my whole leg is shot because there's a lot of sitting down and pedaling, and then there's descending too. So I even get sore on the fucking e-bike, you guys. You guys don't believe me. I do. Especially when I rode Staten Island trails on it last week on the Twitch stream. I was sore. That my upper body was sore the next day. My legs were a little tired, but it was my upper body because that's a heavy bike.
That's
to
a lot
be
of bike.
moving around roots and rocks and like navigating
Yeah.
the technical stuff. You're still working. I was trying to explain that during the stream. Like, it's assisting you, but you're still having to sail the ship, if you will.
No, that's a really good point. Those e-bikes are like, it's kind of a different beast, you know. You're like, that thing's heavy, you know, and it's got like the surface area and, you know, like the whole, you know, it's like riding something different. It's kind of like pedaling a motorcycle almost, or like a light kind of like, you know, it's, and pedal assist is a perfect explanation of what it is, because, you know, you really like, you need to pedal that bike, and it, in order for it to like work, and you've got to put in work. And yeah, it is. I like, that thing's a beast, you know, but it takes a lot of effort to ride those things around, especially for like a whole day, you know. That's a lot of bike.
Joshua Povita just got just started to get into road riding in NYC. Sorry, I can't read. What are some resources I can use to find good routes? An easy one is Ride with GPS. You can, it's free. You don't have to pay for it. And then you can just look at what other routes. You can do it by like 10, 15, 50, 100 miles away from where you're starting, and it'll show you. And then you can separate and categorize and organize the routes by, search them by mileage. So say you only want to do 30-mile loop, you can just do like, you know, 40 to 20 miles, and then you can find a loop that you might like. And if you like it and you have a cycling computer, especially a Wahoo, shout out to Wahoo.
Yeah, that's on your
They
Wahoo,
need to sponsor me.
Yeah.
Give me some free stuff, Wahoo. You pin it and it automatically syncs to your Wahoo account, and then it'll, as soon as you open your app on your phone, it'll sync straight to the computer, and you'll have the route loaded in your computer, and it's
Boom.
just like that. I use that stuff personally when I travel. So say,
Totally.
for example, when I was in Italy, I didn't know where to ride. I did little research. I just knew everywhere you looked, it just looked like amazing riding. So I was like, I don't even want to like look at a map and try to figure it out. I just used Ride with GPS. I pinned a route. I was like, I'll do 50 today. I'll do this much tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. It tells you elevation. It tells you mileage. And then you just go, and it tells you exactly where to turn and everything. And it's awesome, especially if you've never been there before. It's such a good way to just kind of let go, like take the wheel. You just get to ride, you know?
Yeah,
It's like rolling the dice too.
Terry makes a great point. Like if you're traveling or you're visiting somewhere that you've never been, like having the GPS is a perfect way for you to, you know, get around town and know where you're going without getting like totally lost. I mean, it's great like going upstate, and or like if you're in a big city, you know, you can like map a route and kind of, you know, go at it. So yeah, and the Wahoo is like really good for that.
Yeah. Also, Samuli's right. Strava has routes now. They just started it. The reason why I didn't mention Strava is because it's still on the new side. So you can use Strava as well. But Ride with GPS has been around for so long. They have so many rides that are baked and saved in there already. Way more than I feel Strava has in their catalog. But I'm sure Strava will catch up real soon. But Strava is a really good way to do it too.
Username cannot be blank had a really good point. He's like, what about your wrists? I'm getting some wrist pain.
Oh, tell me about it.
From too much downforce, and I'm exerting between feet and grips. This riding technique issue. And that's a really good point, in that like a good bike fit or even a basic bike fit can do a world of wonder. You know, also if the wrist pain could be coming from like the wrong handlebar or the wrong setup, and you know, like maybe your stem's too low or too short or too long. And then, you know, other aspects could be, you know, if you're riding like step-in shoes, you know, you could, you know, your cleat position could be wrong, you know, crank length or Q factor. There's all kinds of different, you know, variables involved with a bike fit. And so once you get into a little bit, you can begin to do basic research about appropriate saddle height or your fore and aft position, or trying to dial in your bike a little bit more for, you know, for the type of riding that you do. And then also like you can research like wrist pain, you know, and try to troubleshoot that. Once you really get into it, it's valuable to spend the money and get like a pro fit. and that can alleviate a
Where
lot
would
of,
you get a
lot of
fit?
pain.
Where would you get a fit in NYC?
That's a really good question. I don't actually. It's hard to get a fit in New York City. There's I think there was a shop called Acme. There's a new shop called Hilltop in Williamsburg, and they have the Retool Fit system. So research some of the local shops, and there's a system called Retool. And a shop that it's not going to be cheap. It's going to be like a couple of $100 or more. It could get up to like $300 or $400, but paying for something like that can pay off in dividends if it alleviates different types of pain or discomfort while you're riding. So
I get pains in my wrist, and it's usually from it's too many days in a row on the mountain bike, and it's usually I have a bad wrist. I can't bend it. I got a scar right there. I broke this a long time ago, and I don't have full mobility of it. So what I do with that is I feel like it's usually when I'm riding, if I ride the mountain bike, like if I go on a trip and ride like 4, 5, 6 days in a row, towards the end, my wrist is like, give me a break. So then I usually listen to my body, and I don't ride. I take a break and give it some rest, because there's a reason why it's hurting. But it's usually from the mountain bike.
Yeah, someone was also talking about stretching, which is important. Like we're
so bad at that.
Cyclists usually have like really weak cores, and so getting a good stretch in beforehand, and or doing like core exercises and sort of cycling specific stretches or core work can really help.
What do you do for your training?
Oh, I try to, I don't always stretch before a ride. It depends on how I'm feeling. If I'm at the track and I'm doing a track workout, I try to stretch. And then I get like sciatic issue. I'm old. I get sciatic pain. And so I do stretches. I do more stretches with my legs and my core that involve, keeping those, muscle groups and whatnot, like just stretched. And so I don't do weights, but I do more like Pilates and stretching exercises.
Fruits and veggies for recovery in between rides, dude. Fruits and veggies, that's the key, man. You can get away with a lot without having meat in your diet. Look at Jason, he's vegan.
I'm vegan cyclist.
I think we got to most of the questions, and I believe we are way over our time. So with that, I'll let Jason say goodbye and thank you and all that. First, it's the serious.
Thanks for chilling. We hope you enjoy the conversation, and we definitely love having you guys participate in the chats. And so if there's ever anything you guys want us to talk about or have any suggestions, definitely drop it in the chat.
Drop it in the comments of the video, because the chat will be long gone in the ether.
And like the video and click to subscribe and all that good stuff that Terry knows more about.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that, but Terry does.
That sounded pro.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys, and also shout out again to David, who's in the other room handling the switching and the 360 camera, and helping with the graphics, and also he really screwed up today. He was supposed to have a video playing on the wall, and it didn't work out. And
yeah, but we got your face on there.
No, that was my fault. I couldn't. We were supposed to have a video playing in 360 with this. It's little baby steps along the way. So as you can see, we're trying to improve every time, and obviously with the quality of the stream, there's some things that are out of our control. YouTube seems to want to throttle or not give us as much data sometimes. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. Thanks for being along with all the growing pains and being there while we're figuring it out. At least the audio is good, right, Dimitri?
The audio was great, and the tracker, the tracking cam, my camera was on point today.
Yeah. Well, the battery died once, but I swapped it for you. Anyways, you guys know what to do. I should have told you earlier, hit that like button a long time ago to help us with the algorithm, but whatever. We're signing out. Enjoy the weekend. We'll see you for the next video, next upload, and ride safe and be well. Peace.
Peace, y'all.